Ruslan.
It appears Nick Cannon recently went onto The Breakfast Club and shared some of his views about his amazing children with multiple women and the ongoing joke of him getting a lot of women pregnant very quickly. And he shared something about the idea, this notion of polygamy versus monogamy. And I wanted to highlight what my brother Cyrus said on this topic, because I think it's very, very fascinating that this is how he responded to the topic of polygamy and his having multiple women. So shout out to my brother Just Cyrus. I've been meaning to get him on the channel, so if you guys want to see him on the channel, let me know. But check this clip out.
Kids, though, I guess people question the different baby mothers. That's what.
Why do people question that? I mean, because that's a Eurocentric concept when you think about the ideas of you're supposed to have this one person for the rest of your life, and really that's just a classified property when you think about it. I mean, when you go into that mindset, if we really talking that talk, just the idea that a man should have one woman, we shouldn't have anything. I have no ownership over this person. If we're really talking about how we coexist and how we populate, it's about what exchange can we create together. So I've never really subscribed to that mentality. You know what I mean? I understand the institution of marriage and stuff, but if we go back to what that was about, that was the classified property. That was because a father gave another man his daughter for land. So.
All right, so shout out to my brother Cyrus. He said Nick Cannon has 7 children by 4 different women, by the way. He is not married to any of them. Some of the many sources that report data on polygamy, including IF studies, and I got another article here as well. Life Science, Politico, hundreds more. This has nothing to do with the Bible for anyone accusing me of merely trying to push my Christian views, but for those who would use polygamy mentioned in the Bible as justification, notice that God never once supported polygamy. Also notice how it tended to cause conflict in the families. And lastly, when God addressed it in the New Testament, he said one man and one woman. Okay, now there's tons and tons of articles about this. I'll give you guys this one. This is from UBC News. Monogamy reduces major social problems of polygamist cultures. This has been widely documented, and it is unequivocally proven that polygamy is not in the best interest of the society. It's not in the best interest of the children. It's very difficult to pull off financially. And when people do use the Bible to justify it, that sometimes things were allowed in the scriptures, or not even allowed, but just happened in the scriptures. The scriptures are documenting not God's heart for marriage, okay? And to Cyrus's point, it never really ended well with somebody having multiple wives and multiple concubines and all these kinds of things. You go through all these situations, and there's usually conflict and drama all around those situations. I think it's really ironic that when we hear something we don't like, a fact, we don't like, it gets dismissed as well, that's just a Eurocentric idea. No, fam. Concepts like monogamy are international ideas, okay? You go to anywhere in the world, and the type of families that work just across any continent, South America, Australia, Africa, Asia, Russia, are monogamous families. There is a reason for that. The stats explain the reason for that. On top of which, the most dangerous thing to me about all of this is someone might be looking at this situation specifically and saying, well, Nick Cannon, 7 children by 4 different women. What does it matter? Yeah, God wanted us to have multiple women. Oh, that's a Eurocentric idea. Here's the thing. Nick Cannon is a multi-millionaire. Okay, so he is providing for all of his these children, right? Because he's a multi-millionaire. The average person, if you got 7 children by 4 different women, 7 children by 4 different wives, ex-wives, people you live with, it's very difficult for the average person walking the street to support 7 children by 4 different women. I think that's the part that we're also missing with a Nick Cannon is, yeah, fam, you might be able to pull it off, but you're a multi-millionaire. There's people that are watching you that are like, yeah, Eurocentric. Oh, it's bad. That's why, blah, right? White supremacy is monogamy, right? Whatever nonsense is gonna get said. And it's like, no, fam. No. There's a reason. There's a reason, and there's a natural order and a natural way things are established. One man, one woman is God's heart for things. And the studies prove that the vast majority of crime are coming from single parent households, fatherlessness. If you look at the stats of a father not being in the home versus what it is to, people being arrested and all these different things, right? It's just a lot of conflating and a lot of nonsense connected to it. And by the way, I had a conversation with a friend of mine today, and he said, yeah, it's Eurocentric. He's kind of like with Nick Cannon on this. And I said, you know what, bro? I got a good amount of friends from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Africa, from West Africa, right? I got a good amount of friends. I don't know any friends from Africa that are like, yeah, polygamy in Nigeria is a good idea. I can't think of a single friend, and I'm talking like dozens and dozens and dozens of friends and acquaintances that I've had this conversation with. Nigeria, Ghana. I can't think of a single one that's like, yes, polygamy was good for our country, right? It's usually like, nah, man, my friend's dad, he had multiple families and it was messy and the families didn't know about each other and they all kind of struggled because he wasn't able to make a whole lot of money and it was a hot mess, right? That's usually the temperament. So no matter which way you approach this, if you want to look at the data, you want to look at the studies, those are not in your favor. If you want to dismiss the studies because those are Eurocentric and you can't trust European people because of white supremacy, well then go to actual parts of Africa, the parts in West Africa, Nigeria, Ethiopia, South Africa, right? And see how frequent and prevalent and wholesome is this idea of polygamy. And what you'll find is it's not as common as you think it is. So there's a reason, guys, there's a natural order to the way God created things, and it is for our good. Okay? And sometimes things that don't seem pleasant in the moment or don't make sense to us in the grand scheme of things are actually in our benefit, right? And I got a 6-year-old, there's certain protocol, there's certain rules, there's certain standards, there's certain expectations that we have for him. You got to go to bed by a certain time. You got to brush your teeth by a certain time. You got to put on clothes. You got to read. There's certain things that if you're going to be in our household are in your best interest. It may not feel like it's in your best interest. It may suck in the moment. You might be like, gosh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I had a better idea. I want to stay up until 1 a.m. I want to eat ice cream whenever I want to eat ice cream. But as a parent, no. You don't understand the consequences of staying up until midnight and eating ice cream and doing whatever you want to and how that's going to affect your body and your future down the line. And I think we play ourselves when we think God is not a good parent, doesn't have a heart for his children, and is just some moral arbitrage that's some killjoy in the sky that's like, oh, I just want to keep my kids from having fun. No, that's not what it is. So trust me that when I tell you guys, God's order is good. God's ways will keep us in God's will. Live your life God's ways, you will always be in God's will.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Yo, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you found it valuable, considering giving it a like and subscribing. This month, I'm releasing the Love What You Do collection. And to celebrate, I'm doing a 3-day virtual event to help us go from learning to love what we do to ultimately doing what we love. By the way, it's free, so hit the link in the description to grab your seat today.